My father grabbed my wedding dress sleeve in front of 180 guests and hissed, "Stop acting brave!" Mom's nails dug into my wrist, dragging me down the aisle while he laughed like I was nothing but a punchline. I'd trained entire teams to respond to cyber attacks in 90 seconds, but never practiced surviving my own parents hauling me from my wedding like trash. They thought I'd stay silent, but evidence doesn't know how to be quiet. And that night, I began planning to make this whole town hear it. My name is Natalie Pierce, and until 4:17 p.m. on my wedding day, I believed shame could only kill you if you let it. The afternoon light slanted gold through St. Callista's stained glass windows, casting colored shadows across my grandmother's lace veil. I stood at the altar, fingers steady on my bouquet, watching Jonah's eyes crinkle as our officiant asked about rings. Then the heavy oak doors slammed open. My mother, Elaine's heels clicked sharp against marble, each step a countdown. My father, Derek, followed, that familiar laugh already bubbling in his throat, the same one from every childhood humiliation, every public correction. Wedding guests twisted in their pews, silk rustling like dry leaves. "Stop it right there," Mom announced, her voice pitched to Carrie. "This wedding cannot continue." The microphone hit the floor with a metallic screech. Someone's phone started recording. I saw the red light bloom in my peripheral vision. Jonah stepped toward me, confused, but Dad blocked him with one arm. "Our daughter," Derek said, still fighting that laugh, "has been hiding things, stealing from her own family." He held up something that caught the light, my grandmother's pearl necklace, the one that went missing last month. "We found this in her apartment yesterday, along with some very interesting employment records from Atlas Defense Command. Lies, all lies." But my mouth went dry as dust. Mom reached me first, her fingers wrapped around my wrist, manicured nails pressing crescents into skin. "Stop acting brave," she whispered, breath hot against my ear. "You're coming with us. Now." She pulled, hard. My wedding shoes skidded on polished floor, the train of my dress dragging through dust nobody had swept. Dad's laughter finally broke free, echoing off vaulted ceilings as if my humiliation was the best joke he'd heard all year. "Criminal conduct violations," he announced to the congregation, waving papers I'd never seen. "Theft of classified materials. Our daughter isn't who you think she is." My cousin grabbed my other arm, helping them haul me down the aisle. Another relative, Uncle Marcus, stepped in to assist. They moved as a unit, practiced, like they'd rehearsed this, because they had. I understood it then. Even through the shock, this was choreographed. Every detail planned. The necklace hadn't been stolen. The employment records were fabricated. But why, as they dragged me past row after row of stunned faces, past Jonah's mother pressing her hand to her chest, past bridesmaids frozen like statues, I caught sight of the church's security camera, recording everything. Mom's grip tightened as we reached the doors. "You should have just signed the papers when we asked nicely," she muttered. The papers. The house. My grandmother's house that they'd put in my name for tax reasons 3 years ago. The house they'd been pressuring me to transfer back. The house that I realized with sudden, sick clarity they must have borrowed against without my knowledge. Dad's laughter followed us out into the parking lot, where their car sat running. Planned. All of it planned. They shoved me toward the back seat, my dress tearing on the doorframe. Behind us, wedding guests spilled onto the church steps, phones raised, capturing every second of my destruction. Someone would upload this within the hour. My professional reputation, my security clearance, my entire life demolished in less than 5 minutes. "We're your parents," Mom said as she slammed my door. "We know what's best." Through the rear window, I saw Jonah standing alone at the altar, my bouquet abandoned on the floor, its white roses scattered across marble like evidence at a crime scene. The photographer kept calling. 7 missed calls while I sat in my apartment, still wearing the torn wedding dress at 9:43 p.m. The cake sat untouched in the reception hall. 300 champagne glasses never lifted in a toast. My phone buzzed again. Jonah this time. We need to talk. Privately. My mother received some disturbing emails about your employment history. I stared at his text. Numb. The apartment felt too quiet without the life we'd planned to start today. Memory kept cutting back to other silences, other humiliations. Age 7. Dad laughing when I'd wet myself because he wouldn't stop the car. Age 14. Mom announcing my failed algebra test to her entire book club. Age 22. Both of them showing up at my college graduation party to tell everyone I'd only gotten my job through connections, not merit. Always that laugh, always the public stage. My laptop chimed. An email forward from Jonah's mother, screenshots of messages sent from an anonymous account to the church, to Jonah's family, to my supervisor at Atlas Defense Command. Concerned citizen worried about my history of theft and fraudulent security clearance. I knew that writing style, the way Mom capitalized random words for emphasis, the missing Oxford commas Dad never learned to use. My phone rang. Marisol Vega, my friend from law school. Nat, I saw the video. Someone uploaded it to the Riverton Community Facebook page. What the hell happened? They planned it. My voice came out raw. My parents. They've been asking me to sign transfer papers for Grandma's house. I kept refusing because something felt wrong. The brownstone on Maple, the one they put in my name 3 years ago, said it was for tax benefits. Marisol went quiet. Then, send me the property details. Tonight. I'll run a title search first thing tomorrow. After she hung up, I opened my laptop properly, logged into my cloud storage to check the anonymous email claims. Someone had accessed my account 2 days ago. IP address traced to a public Wi-Fi network. Location Riverton Print and Ship, the place Mom always used for her charity newsletter copies. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Don't try being brave. Sign the papers. Another memory surfaced Mom last week, mentioning how behind they were on bills. Dad's nervous laugh when I'd asked about their retirement planning. The sudden urgency about the house transfer after months of casual requests. I pulled up my banking app, then the property tax records. The house was worth $800,000. More than enough to secure a significant loan, or several loans. By 11:15 p.m., I'd pieced together the timeline. 3 weeks ago, Mom starts pressuring me about the transfer. 2 weeks ago, mysterious calls to Atlas Defense Command asking about my employment status. 1 week ago, the pearl necklace goes missing during Sunday dinner at their house. 2 days ago, someone accesses my cloud storage. Today, public destruction. Logan Brooks texted just after midnight. We'd worked together in Atlas's cybersecurity division before he went private sector. Saw the video. This is bullshit. You were our best analyst. Need help. Yes. Can you pull security footage from Riverton Print and Ship 2 days ago? Afternoon. Give me 12 hours. I finally peeled off the ruined dress. Stood in the shower until the water ran cold. They'd done this before to my sister Rachel when she'd refused to co-sign a loan. Smaller scale then, just family dinner dramatics. Rachel moved to Seattle the next month. Haven't spoken to any of us since. But I wasn't running. Not this time. Another text from the unknown number at 1:37 a.m. Your boss received an interesting package. Sign tomorrow or Monday gets worse. I texted Marisol. They're escalating, threatening my job now. Her reply came immediately. Document everything, every text, every threat. We're going to bury them with their own evidence. Dad's laughter echoed in my memory, that specific pitch that meant he thought he'd won. He'd laughed the same way when he'd forced Rachel out, when he'd humiliated me at graduation. This time would be different. This time, I'd make sure everyone heard exactly what kind of joke he thought his daughters were. Logan's email arrived at 6:22 a.m. with 12 attachments. Security footage from Riverton Print and Ship, timestamps intact, frame by frame. My mother entering at 2:14 p.m. Saw logging into their public terminal, her face clear in the overhead camera. Another angle showed her screen, my cloud storage login page. Your mom's not tech-savvy enough to hide her tracks, Logan wrote. Also found this: she printed something from your account. Receipt shows 14 pages, paid cash. Marisol called while I was reviewing the footage. Natalie, you sitting down, I found 3 liens against the Maple Street property. Your parents took out loans totaling $600,000. Forged your signature. My coffee mug slipped, brown liquid spreading across my keyboard. That's fraud. Federal crime fraud. And they need you to legitimize it retroactively. If you sign those transfer papers now, it looks like you approved the loans originally. Kayla Hunt texted next. She worked as deputy manager at St. Callista's. Can you meet? I have something you need to see. We met at a diner outside Riverton proper. Kayla slid her phone across the table. Security footage from the church's back hallway paused on screen. Watch this, she said. 3:47 p.m., 30 minutes before the ceremony. My mother entered the bride's room carrying my jewelry box, the one I'd left at home because I'd already chosen my accessories. She emerged 4 minutes later, empty-handed. The timestamp jumped to 5:23 p.m. after they'd dragged me out. Mom again, retrieving the box, pearl necklace visible in her hand. She planted it, Kayla said, then retrieved it to find as evidence. I have the whole thing backed up. My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Final warning, sign by 5 p.m. today. I forwarded it to Marisol, then texted back, or what? The response came with a photo attachment, a manila envelope on my supervisor's desk at Atlas Defense Command. Already delivered. Monday morning will be interesting. Logan called. I did some digging on that burner number. Purchased at the CVS on 3rd Street. Want to guess who's on their security footage buying it? My father. Bingo. Tuesday, 4 p.m., clear as day. The pieces formed a picture: Mom handling the digital trail, Dad managing the threats. Their usual division of labor. She handled details. He provided intimidation, practiced, systematic. Marisol texted, found more. They're behind on payments. Bank issued final notice last week. Foreclosure proceedings start Monday unless the loan is brought current or ownership transfers to someone with actual income. That explained the timing, the desperation, the nuclear option of destroying my wedding. I opened my laptop, started creating folders. Evidence file 1 security footage, evidence file 2 forged documents, evidence file 3 digital trail, evidence file 4 threats and extortion. Logan sent another email at 2:45 p.m. Your mom's not done. She accessed your cloud storage again this morning from the same location. Downloaded your entire Atlas project folder. My classified projects. The ones that would actually violate my security clearance if leaked. I called him immediately. Can you lock her out? Already did. Changed your password. Enabled 2-factor. But Nat, if she tries to use those documents, she's building a dead man's switch. If I don't sign, she'll leak classified material and make it look like I did it. Kayla texted again. Riverton Community Gala is Saturday. Your dad's the coordinator this year. Your mom's handling the auction items, including, you're going to love this, your grandmother's pearl necklace, listed as recently recovered family heirloom. The audacity burned through my chest. They were going to publicly display the evidence of their frame-up, confident I'd been too destroyed to fight back. Get me into that gala, I texted Kayla. Already bought your ticket. You're at table 12. Marisol called with one last piece. The loan officer who approved those loans. He's being investigated for approving fraudulent applications. Your parents' loans are part of the case. If this goes to trial, they're looking at 20 years. Unless I sign the papers and make it retroactively legal. Exactly. I stared at the evidence spread across my screen. Digital breadcrumbs leading straight back to them. Their confidence was their weakness. They'd been so sure of my silence. They'd been sloppy. The burner texted again at 4:58 p.m. 2 minutes. Decide. I typed back, I'll sign, but only in person. At the gala. Public signing for transparency. The response was immediate. Smart girl. Don't try anything clever. I smiled for the first time since my wedding imploded. They thought I was surrendering. Perfect. They chose neutral ground for our confrontation, Brennan's coffee house, 3 blocks from their home. Public enough that I couldn't make a scene, private enough for threats. I arrived at 10:15 a.m. to find them already seated, Dad's fingers drumming the table in that rhythm that meant he was planning something cruel. "You look tired, sweetheart," Mom said, stirring sugar into her latte. "Have you been sleeping?" The pet name made my skin crawl. Dad leaned back, that familiar pre-laugh smirk tugging his mouth. "Of course she hasn't. Guilty conscience. Probably." "About what?" I kept my voice flat. "The wedding you destroyed, the lies you spread, or the federal fraud you're trying to make me accessory to." Dad's laugh burst out, sharp and delighted. "See, this is why you needed the lesson. You're only brave when you have an audience. Natalie, always performing. Just like at your wedding, playing the perfect bride while hiding your true nature." My true nature. Mom pulled out a folder, slid it across the table, inside the transfer papers, predated 3 months ago. "Sign these. We'll tell everyone we've resolved our family dispute. You can even have your job back once we explain it was all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding you created. We're your parents." Mom's voice hardened. "We gave you everything. That house Grandma wanted us to have it, but we put it in your name as a gift. Now we need it back. You needed a loan, several loans, which you took out illegally." Dad's drumming stopped. "Careful, Natalie. You're at a disadvantage here. We have your classified files. One email to the right people and you're not just unemployed, you're in federal prison." "You mean the files Mom stole from my cloud storage, the ones with her IP address all over the access logs." Mom's cup rattled against the saucer. "You can't prove anything." "Riverton Print and Ship, Tuesday, 2:14 p.m. Would you like to see the security footage?" Dad's laugh came again, but thinner. "No one will believe you over us. We're pillars of this community. You're the ungrateful daughter who stole from her grandmother. Grandmother's been dead 4 years, hard to steal from a grave. The necklace? The one you planted in my dressing room 30 minutes before my wedding, then retrieved after Kayla has the footage. Both angles." Silence. Mom's face cycled through calculations. Dad's fingers started their drumming again. Faster. "Here's what's going to happen," Mom said finally. "You're going to come home. Stay with us until things settle down. During that time, you'll sign these papers. In exchange, we'll repair your reputation. House arrest. Family support during a difficult time." Dad corrected, that laugh threatening again. "Unless you'd prefer option B, we release everything. Your classified projects, your borrowed company resources, that little incident from 2 years ago." "What incident?" "The one we'll create evidence for." His full laugh broke free. "You think you're the only one who can manufacture digital trails? Your mother's gotten quite good with computers." The pattern crystallized, sharp as broken glass. This wasn't their first time, not even their second. Every family member who'd resisted them had faced public humiliation, forced compliance, or exile. My sister Rachel, cousin Marcus who'd questioned their finances, Aunt Rebecca who'd refused to invest in Dad's scheme. "You've done this before," I said. "To everyone who won't play along." "We're protecting family interests," Mom said. "Something you'd understand if you weren't so selfish." "Selfish? You destroyed my wedding. We prevented you from making a mistake. Jonah's weak, his family's weak. You need us." Dad leaned forward, coffee breath washing over me. "Come home, Natalie. Today. Pack a bag. Tell everyone you need family support, and this all goes away. Refuse. And Monday morning, Atlas Defense Command gets an anonymous tip about their compromised analyst. With evidence. I could report you right now. Extortion, fraud, theft." His laugh peaked, the sound that had haunted my childhood. "With what credibility the woman who got dragged from her own wedding for theft, who has classified documents on her personal devices?" "Please, try it." Mom touched my hand. I jerked away. "Sweetie, This is for your own good. You've always been too independent, too aggressive. We're saving you from yourself." "You're saving yourselves from bankruptcy." "Same thing." Dad stood, straightened his jacket. 5 p.m. today. Be at the house with your bags, or Monday gets very interesting. Your choice: family protection or total destruction. They left me with the check. $15 for coffee and my life's demolition. I sat there until 11:47 a.m., recording everything on my phone, then texted Marisol. They just threatened federal charges, admitted to planning to manufacture evidence. I have it all recorded. Her response: perfect. "Let them think they've won. The gala's in 3 days. Can you pretend to comply until then?" I texted back, "Yes, but I'm not going to their house." "Stall. Make excuses. We need 3 more days. 3 days to turn their own weapon against them. 3 days to transform their public humiliation technique into their public destruction." Dad thought I was only brave with an audience. Saturday night, I'd give him the performance of his life. The Riverton Annual Gala would start at 7 p.m. Saturday. By Thursday afternoon, we had our war room set up in Marisol's office, laptops, documents, and a whiteboard mapping every move. "The venue has upgraded AV equipment," Kayla reported, pulling up floor plans on her tablet. "Main projector, 4 auxiliary screens, and they just installed a new sound system. Everything runs through a central control booth." "Can you get me access?" I asked. "Already arranged. You'll be helping with technical difficulties if anyone asks." "I've got the passwords." Logan sprawled in a leather chair, fingers flying across his keyboard. "I've cloned the security feeds from Print and Ship, the church, and CVS. Also pulled your mom's deleted browser history. She's been researching federal whistleblower laws and anonymous reporting systems, planning to report you for espionage." "Let her try," Marisol said, spreading legal documents across the conference table. "I've filed preservation orders for all electronic evidence. The moment they make a false federal report, they're adding another 20 years to their sentence." My phone buzzed. "Dad, you haven't come home yet." I texted back, "Packing. Need time to close out my apartment properly. I'll sign at the gala as promised." His response: "Don't test me, Natalie." "He's nervous," Marisol observed. "Good. Nervous people make mistakes." Kayla pulled up the gala program on her screen. "Your father's giving the opening speech at 7:30. Your mother presents the auction items at 8:15. The pearl necklace is lot number 7. Perfect timing," I said. "We'll layer the reveals. Small truths building to devastation." Logan raised his hand. "I've got something beautiful. Your mom logged into your cloud storage again yesterday, but this time I was watching. Screen recorded everything. She downloaded your classified files to a USB drive. Serial number tracks to a purchase at Staples last week under her credit card. Evidence of intent to commit espionage." Marisol whistled. "That's life in federal prison." I texted the burner number. "I need guarantees. If I sign at the gala, you destroy all copies of my files." The response came within minutes. "Agreed. Public signing, public reconciliation. Don't disappoint us." Thursday night. I called Jonah. He answered on the 5th ring. Voice careful. "Nat, I know you got their emails. I know what they told your mother. Are they true?" "No." "And Saturday night at the gala. I'm going to prove it. Will you be there?" Long pause. "My mother bought a table. We'll be there." "Good. Watch the screens." Friday afternoon. We did our final run-through. Kayla had programmed the AV system to accept remote inputs. Logan would control the feeds from his laptop in the crowd. Marisol prepared information packets for key attendees: the mayor, the police chief, the local FBI field office supervisor who always attended these charity events. "The mic system is the best part," Kayla explained. "All the table mics feed to the main board. I can isolate and amplify any table. Your parents are at the VIP table, front and center." "Keep their mics hot all night," I said. "Already programmed." I created my own presentation. 40 slides of evidence, screenshots, footage, documents, audio clips. Each slide labeled with clinical precision. No emotion, just facts. Let the evidence speak. Friday night. Mom called 17 times. I didn't answer. Dad sent increasingly angry texts. 8:43 p.m. This is unacceptable. 9:15 p.m. You're making a mistake. 10:27 p.m. Answer your phone. 11:51 p.m. Saturday is your last chance. I texted back at midnight. I'll be there, with the papers, ready to sign. His response was immediate. Good girl. Wear something appropriate. I looked at the dress I'd chosen, black, professional, with a recording device sewn into the collar. Appropriate for a funeral. Theirs. Saturday morning. Logan sent his final confirmation. All systems tested. Kayla has the booth from 6:30 onward. I'll be at table 18 with a clear sightline. Marisol's packets are under the right chairs. I spent the afternoon in my apartment, reviewing everything. The destroyed wedding dress still hung in my closet. I touched the torn fabric, thought about the woman who'd worn it 6 days ago. She'd believed in family, in second chances, in the possibility that toxic people could change. That woman had been dragged down an aisle while her father laughed. Tonight, a different woman would walk into that gala, one who understood that sometimes the only way to stop a predator was to let everyone see their teeth. My phone rang at 5:45 p.m. Marisol. You ready? Yes. Remember, they made this public first. You're just returning the favor. With interest. Compound interest. The kind that buries people. I picked up the transfer papers, unsigned, and slipped them into my purse next to the USB drive containing everything. Either they'd sign their own confession tonight, or I'd deliver it all to the authorities myself. Text to the burner at 6:30 p.m. On my way, papers in hand. Response. We knew you'd see sense. Family always wins. I smiled, cold as December rain. They were right about one thing. This was about family. About every family member they'd hurt, humiliated, driven away. Tonight, I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for Rachel, for Marcus, for Rebecca, for everyone who'd suffered their strategic cruelty. The gala started in 30 minutes. The stage was set. The audience assembled. Time for the show they'd never forget. The Riverton Country Club glowed amber under string lights. Jazz trio playing something smooth and forgettable. 7:20 p.m. I walked through the doors to find 300 of the town's finest already deep into their cocktails. Dad stood near the podium, practicing his smile. Mom fluttered between tables, touching shoulders, air-kissing cheeks. They hadn't seen me yet. I found Kayla by the AV booth, her hands steady on the control board. Everything's ready. Your presentation is loaded. Logan's in position. Marisol just arrived with the police chief. The mayor lifted his champagne glass to me from across the room. He didn't know yet that his evening was about to become newsworthy. 7:30 p.m. Sharp. Dad took the podium, that practiced laugh warming up the crowd. Welcome, everyone, to our little gathering for a great cause. I moved to table 12, keeping my profile low. The screens behind Dad showed pastoral scenes of Riverton parks, churches, community gatherings, normal, safe, about to change. Before we begin, Dad continued, I want to thank my wonderful wife Elaine for organizing our auction. We have some truly special items tonight. Mom stood, waved, the crowd applauded. The VIP table mic picked up her whispered comment to her friend, including that necklace, finally putting that drama to rest. 8:10 p.m. Time for my first move. I approached the auction table where Mom had arranged the items. I'd like to add something, I said loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. A wedding photography collection, very recent, still in pristine condition. Mom's face went pale, then red. Natalie, you came. I promised I would. She grabbed my elbow, hissing. What are you doing? Donating to charity. Isn't that why we're here? Kayla cued the first slide on the auxiliary screens, my wedding photos, the ones the photographer had managed to capture before chaos. Beautiful, hopeful shots that made the crowd murmur appreciatively. Then the next slide, A timestamp from the church security camera. 3:47 p.m. What? Mom started. The screen showed her entering my dressing room with the jewelry box, then leaving empty-handed. The murmur grew louder. Dad's laugh cut through the noise, but it sounded forced. Technical difficulties. Folks, let's move on to no difficulties, I said, my voice carrying. Kayla had switched my table mic on. Just documentation, like this. Next slide, Mom retrieving the planted necklace after the wedding disaster. The timestamp clear, the pearl necklace visible in her hand. The police chief stood up, eyes narrowing. Mom grabbed the mic at her table, not realizing it was already hot. This is taken out of context. Is committing fraud also out of context? Marisol stood, holding her packet high. Because I have documentation here of 3 fraudulent loans taken against property titled to Natalie Pierce, $600,000, forged signatures. The screens changed again. Loan documents. Signature comparisons showing the forgery. Mom's voice, still amplified. Shit, turn that off. Turn it. There's more. I announced. The anonymous emails about my employment. The ones sent to my workplace. My fiancé's family, screen change IP logs from Riverton Print and Ship, security footage of Mom at the computer, the email compositions visible on the screen. Dad abandoned the podium, striding toward me. His mic was still on too. You ungrateful little thief, I suggested, like you accused me of being. Let's talk about that. Logan cued the audio. My father's voice filled the ballroom, recorded from Thursday's coffee shop meeting. You think you're the only one who can manufacture digital trails? Your mother's gotten quite good with computers. Then Mom's voice, we prevented you from making a mistake. My voice, you destroyed my wedding. Dad's laugh, that horrible laugh, we're protecting family interests. The crowd had gone silent except for the whisper of phones recording. But here's the best part, I said. 8:28 p.m. Perfect timing. The pearl necklace you're auctioning tonight. The family heirloom my parents claimed I stole. The main screen lit up with video from the church. Mom planting the necklace. Mom retrieving it. Split screen showing her carrying it into the gala tonight. That's evidence in an extortion case, Marisol announced, which I'm formally reporting to the authorities present tonight. Mom lunged for the AV booth. Kayla calmly stepped aside, revealing she wasn't even at the controls. Logan was running everything remotely. Mom's desperate grab only knocked over a champagne tower, glass shattering across marble, her designer dress soaked and glittering with fragments. Stop this, Dad roared into his still hot mic. She's our daughter. We own her. She owes us everything. The words echoed through the ballroom. Someone gasped. The mayor stepped back from the VIP table. I pulled out the unsigned transfer papers. You wanted me to sign these, to make your fraud legal retroactively, to save you from bankruptcy and federal prison. You will sign them. Mom's voice was raw, animal. Or I'll release those classified files. The ones you stole, Logan stood, holding up his laptop. The ones I have screen recordings of you stealing, that's espionage, federal crime, life sentence. The police chief finally moved, gesturing to 2 officers by the door. I think we need to have a conversation. Dad's laugh broke one last time, but it came out wrong, cracked, like glass grinding. You can't, we're pillars of this, everyone knows us. Everyone does now, I said. The screens displayed one final image, a side-by-side comparison. On the left, my ruined wedding, me being dragged down the aisle. On the right, tonight, my parents surrounded by evidence of their crimes. Same venue, I observed. Different ending. The ballroom erupted. 300 phones raised, recording every second. The police chief spoke into his radio while 2 officers moved toward my parents. Mom's mic was still live, catching her frantic whispers to Dad. The USB drive. Where's the USB? Looking for this. Logan held up a sealed evidence bag with a drive inside. Retrieved from your car an hour ago. Already logged with the FBI field office? Serial number matches your Staples receipt. I pulled my phone, projecting the final slides onto the main screen. Every threat, every extortion attempt, every message from your burner phone. Dad. The footage rolled. Dad buying the burner at CVS. Timestamp visible. His text messages displayed in sequence. Don't try being brave. Final warning. Monday gets interesting. That's extortion, Marisol announced to the room. Conspiracy to commit fraud, forgery, identity theft, attempted espionage. Dad stumbled backward, his laugh finally dead. You don't understand. She's ungrateful. We gave her everything. You gave me trauma, I said into the mic. You gave Rachel PTSD. You gave Marcus anxiety disorders. You gave every family member who ever stood up to you a lifetime of therapy bills. The main screen changed to email records, years of messages between my parents planning their manipulations. Their term for it, behavioral corrections. Their targets, anyone with assets they wanted or independence they resented. Mom tried one last manipulation. Tears on command. Natalie, sweetie, we're family. No. Family doesn't destroy your wedding for refusing to sign fraud documents. The police chief nodded to his officers. Elaine Pierce, Derek Pierce, we need you to come with us. Dad grabbed the podium, his knuckles white. This is a setup, she's lying. Check her employment record, she's under investigation. Actually, a new voice cut through. My supervisor from Atlas Defense Command, Dr. Harrison, stepped forward from table 3. Ms. Pierce has an exemplary record. The anonymous allegations were investigated and found baseless. We traced them to, he looked at his phone, an IP address at Riverton Print and Ship. Mom's sobs turned real. The mic caught everything. Furthermore, Dr. Harrison continued, attempting to frame a defense contractor for espionage is a federal crime. The FBI will be very interested in your USB drive. Mrs. Pierce. 8:41 p.m. The mayor stood, distancing himself from the VIP table. I think this gala is concluded. Wait, I said. The auction items. I walked to the table, picked up the pearl necklace evidence bag and all. This belongs to my grandmother's estate. Stolen by my parents, used to frame me, then donated here to complete their performance. The crowd watched as I handed it to the police chief. Evidence, like the forged loans, like the extortion messages, like everything else they touched. Dad's final attempt at his laugh came out as a wheeze. You've destroyed us. No, you destroyed yourselves. I just made sure everyone saw it. Mom lunged again, but not at me, at Dad. This was your idea. The loans were your idea. Her mic broadcast every word. You said she'd never fight back. You said she was weak. You planted the evidence, Dad snarled back. You accessed her files. They turned on each other, confessing crime after crime while 300 witnesses recorded. The officers finally moved in, separating them, cuffs clicking shut. As they led Dad past me, he tried one more time. Stop acting brave. I met his eyes. I'm not acting. The crowd parted as the officers escorted them out. Mom's designer heels clicked against marble, but now the sound was hollow, defeated. Dad's shoulders slumped. That terrible laugh finally silenced forever. Jonah appeared at my elbow. I hadn't seen him arrive. He didn't speak, didn't touch me, just stood there. A witness, a presence. The FBI supervisor approached with his card. We'll need your evidence files. I handed him the USB drive I'd prepared. Everything's there, chronologically organized, cross-referenced. Marisol joined us. I'll file the civil suits Monday. Fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress, defamation. The ballroom began to empty, but slowly. Everyone still recording, still whispering. Tomorrow, the whole state would know. By Monday, it would be national news, parents destroying daughter's wedding and fraud scheme. Kayla appeared with a champagne glass. You did it. We did it. Logan raised his phone. Videos already viral. 14,000 views in 10 minutes. I looked at the empty podium where Dad had stood, so certain of his power. The auction table where Mom had displayed her false evidence. The screens still showing that final image, my wedding disaster beside tonight's justice. 9:07 p.m. The jazz trio, who'd never stopped playing, finished their set. The last note hung in the air like a question answered. The police chief returned, holding an evidence receipt. "We'll need you to come to the station tomorrow. File formal charges." "I'll be there." He paused. That took courage. Real courage. I thought of Dad's words, echoing through my entire life. "You're only brave when you have an audience." He was right about one thing, I said. I did need an audience. The whole town needed to see what they really are. The gala committee announced an immediate halt at 9:12 p.m. Servers stopped mid-pour, abandoned champagne flutes catching the light like evidence markers. The police had cordoned off the auction table, yellow tape around my grandmother's necklace finally serving justice instead of lies. "Everyone out," the chief announced. "This is now a crime scene." The crowd moved toward the exits, but slowly, their phones still raised. I heard fragments of conversation. "Can you believe the whole wedding was... They actually tried to..." The mayor paused beside me. "Ms. Pierce, the city owes you an apology. We all watched that wedding video. Nobody helped." "Everyone believed them," I said simply. They counted on that. Outside, red and blue lights painted the country club entrance. My parents sat in separate patrol cars, Mom's tear-streaked face visible through the window, Dad staring straight ahead, his mouth still moving like he was trying to laugh but had forgotten how. Jonah finally spoke. "My mother wants to apologize. She believed their emails." Everyone did. That was their weapon credibility bought with years of strategic charity. "What will you do now?" I looked at the patrol cars pulling away, carrying my parents to booking. "File charges. Testify. Make sure they can't do this to anyone else." He nodded, started to leave, then turned back. "For what it's worth, you look better without the wedding dress." 9:28 p.m. The parking lot emptied except for my team. Logan was already uploading the full footage to multiple platforms: YouTube, Twitter, TikTok with the title, "Parents Destroy Daughter's Wedding for Fraud Scheme." Full footage with evidence. 27,000 views, he reported. News stations are calling. Marisol checked her phone. "The FBI wants everything by 9 a.m. Monday. The federal prosecutor is personally interested." Kayla hugged me. "You know the whole town will be talking about this forever." "Good. Let them remember what happens when you weaponize shame." I walked to my car, heels clicking on asphalt steady, not dragging like they had down that aisle 6 days ago. No one pulling me, no one laughing. The recording devices in my dress had captured everything, but I didn't need them anymore. The truth was out, witnessed by everyone who mattered. My phone buzzed. Rachel, my sister, texting from Seattle. "Saw the video. Finally. Thank you." Then Marcus from Portland. "You did what I couldn't. They're done." Aunt Rebecca from Boston. "Watching them get arrested was better than therapy." 9:45 p.m. I sat in my car, watching the country club staff lock the doors. Through the windows, I could see the abandoned gala, overturned champagne, scattered programs, the podium where Dad had given his last performance. I thought about the woman in the wedding dress, dragged past 200 guests while her father laughed. She'd thought silence was strength, that enduring was brave. She'd been wrong. Real courage wasn't suffering in silence. It was standing in the light and letting everyone see the truth, no matter how ugly. My phone rang. CNN. I declined. Then Fox. Then NBC. Tomorrow I'd tell the story properly, with all the evidence. Tonight, I just wanted to sit in the quiet victory. A text from the unknown number, Dad's burner. Now in evidence. The last message he'd managed to send, "This isn't over." I deleted it. It was over. The moment they'd dragged me from my wedding, they'd started a war they couldn't win. because they'd taught me something that day, something they'd never intended. They'd taught me that public shame only works if you let it, that humiliation is only powerful if you hide from it, that the very spotlight they'd used to control me could burn them to ash if I turned it around. 10:03 p.m. I started the engine, pulled out of the parking lot. In the rearview mirror, the country club shrank. Just another building where another truth had been told. No wedding ring on my finger. No parents in my life. No more laughter haunting my choices. Just me, driving home through streets that would never look at me the same way again. Not as the girl who got dragged from her wedding, but as the woman who brought down two predators with their own weapons. The silence in the car wasn't empty. It was full of Rachel's freedom, Marcus's vindication, Rebecca's relief, and my own hard-won peace. Dad was wrong. I wasn't brave because I had an audience. I was brave because I finally stopped being afraid of one. The headlights cut through darkness ahead, illuminating the road home. Behind me, sirens faded into nothing. Ahead, just quiet streets and a life that was finally, completely mine. No laugh echoing in the silence, just silence itself, beautiful, complete, and mine. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and let's connect. Please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about what you'd do if your own family tried to destroy your special day. Your stories and perspectives mean everything to me.